Hey everyone, just as I promised earlier this week, today we're not talking about real estate. We're going to be talking about the way I go about answering questions. So I'd like to share with you my approach and why I answer questions the way that I do as a result of getting some feedback and questions from you. In true fashion, let's jump right in. And without any further delays, this is my methodology. As soon as I get a question, I separate it into one of two categories. The first category deals with questions that are based on procedures, processes, and technical aspects. And those are the kinds of questions that get a complete and straightforward answer with as much detail as possible and as best as I can explain it, of course. The second kind of questions that go into the other category are more or less questions based on decision making. And those are the kinds of questions that I do not give a straight answer to. Those are the kinds of questions that I answer with follow-up questions and clarifying questions so that you may dig deeper on your own and peel back the layers and hopefully come to a decision that is right and best for you. So let me give you examples of each category. The first category, for example, a question might be, what are the steps to buying or selling a home? That is a perfectly legitimate technical question that requires a complete and thorough answer. A question that might require more digging and looking into is, when should I buy or when should I sell? Now, that kind of question, most likely I will follow up with more clarifying questions for you to think about so that you can arrive to what's the right decision on your own. You may ask, why do I do this? And this is where things may get a little bit confusing, which is not a bad thing. So here's why I do this. Whether we realize it or not, when we ask a question, automatically there is dependency being created. The first set of questions create physical and temporary dependency. Here are some examples that are apart from real estate. You're driving your car breaks down, you're not a car mechanic, you call the mechanic so they can fix the car and you can be on your way. Temporarily, you depend on that person. There is a physical dependency, which is not only the right thing to do, but also it's an essential part of daily living. It makes daily life more bearable. You break a bone, you don't fix it yourself. You go see a doctor, they patch you up, and then you move on with your life. There's a leak in the house. You're not a roofing contractor. Of course, you call a roofing contractor, they get it fixed, and life goes back to normal. That kind of dependency is absolutely fine. But this is where we get in a lot of trouble when we start giving straightforward answers to the second set of questions that are all about decision making. Those kinds of questions create a psychological dependency, which is not temporary, which is long term. And it's terrible for a person, for a human being. It may be great for business, but that is not how I want to run my practice and my business. Anyone that I work with, anyone that I talk to, whether it's our first time or 21st time, whether you're a family member or a friend or a stranger, it doesn't matter. My goal is for you to stand on your own 2 feet, completely free and independent psychologically, so that you can make these decisions for yourself. Because when we give up our psychological freedom, in a way we become prisoners. We feel restricted. We feel enslaved. Decisions that we should be making about our lives all of a sudden are transferred from our hands to someone else's hands. And that's not a good place to be. If you've ever done it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So that is the reason why every single question that even has the potential of creating a psychological dependency between you and I do not answer directly. I don't know if this makes much sense to you. I don't know if this is the answer that you were looking for when you were asking me to explain why I approach questions the way that I do. But this is my thought process behind it. If you need more clarification, I'd be more than happy to do this one-on-one and answer further questions. And here's what I would like to leave you with. It just got into my head now. I don't remember where I read it or where I heard it or who said it. And I'm paraphrasing here. This is not word for word, so don't take something that I say and make it ridiculous. The chains that I wear, I have forged in my life out of habits that are too light to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. This is what happens when you create psychological dependency. You become a slave. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, there are plenty of ways to reach out, whether it's via text, private messaging, phone, email, whatever works best for you. I'd be more than happy to hear from you. And if not, I will definitely see you next week with more real estate topics.